I'm in Dawlish today, a seaside town in the county of Devon in the UK. And this is St Gregory's Church, the parish church. The church has been on this site for 600 or 700 years. The tower on the left there is from about 1400. The rest of the church has traces of the earlier building, but it was extensively modified in the Victorian era because of the popularity of Dawlish as a resort town. The church is locked up, as so many parish churches are nowadays, particularly since the COVID epidemic. And I'm just going to explore the graveyard and see if there's any interesting memorials. There's an early stone here, still very clear. This is William Tapper, who died in 1852, and Joanna, his wife, who died in 1857. This one is to the Friar family, and we have dates here of 1826 and 1838. To the memory of Elizabeth Friar, beloved wife of James Bond. Really? This is William Cole, who died in 1817, and James Henry Cole, his son, who died at sea 1819, age 19. That's remarkably clear, given that it's 200 years old. This is for George Babb, who died in 1800, and his mother, who died in 1816. And there's another name lower down. Round the side of the church here, we have some interestingly shaped tombs. This one reads to James Powell, who died in 1816. He had resided in his parish for the last 20 years, where his cultivated understanding, his mild and unpretending manner, his quiet attributes and active benevolence, and so on. James Powell itself stands on these 4 claw feet. One here is to Thomas Murthwaite Parker of Park Nook in Cumberland, quite out of county down here in the south of England. From under the very old yew tree is Sir David, the son of Francis Northclarke, Lieutenant in the Royal Navy. One here underneath the yew tree, very clear to read. And down the bottom we've got Francis Panther, schoolmaster and scholar. Up here is a very overgrown area, but a number of stones clearly in the area with good inscriptions on them, but quite impossible to reach at this time. There's some more here, deep amongst the trees, but inaccessible. I don't know whether the camera can reach this one. Yeah. It says Charles Paddon, 1869. It's always the ones that are impossible or very difficult to reach that look to be the most interesting. But you'd have to scramble across a lot of nettles and brambles to reach these here in the trees. Well, I have managed to scramble over some of the undergrowth, and there is a very large tomb here, and this is marked William Fripp of Teignmouth, and on the other side is his wife. I've pulled some of the ivy off this one so we can see the inscription. This is to Frederick Frost Lomas, who was born at Nottingham in 1844 and he died here at Dawlish 1882. I pulled the ivy off this one. Edward Barton Bartlett, late of 78 Connaught Street, London, LASRCS. This is an unusual first name, in memory of Wilby, the second son of Mr. Edward Green of the Rectory, Powick, Worcestershire. A large one here with a very clear inscription, William Ferris of Hensford, died 1883. A sad story on this one. We got Richard John Tripe, who was drowned 1865, aged 7 years and 11 months. Some very detailed carving in the stone here with these flowers. William Sage, Major General in H.M. Bengal Army, a good soldier and servant of the state. For 56 years he served. And more details about him. But then down at the bottom here we've got the crossed swords, and it says Nepal 1815, Saigop 1831, Gunni 1839. Well, if you knew your Indian history, you better get the right words around that. More large table type tombs here, but completely overgrown. One here, and on the ground that I'm standing are stones that are completely covered now with the grass. Now over on the side here we have the mausoleum to the Hoare family, Hoare. The mausoleum was designed by George Gilbert Scott. Now, George Gilbert Scott was renowned for his work on cathedrals. It is believed he had work on all but 2 of the British cathedrals, and he did work on Westminster Abbey and other well-known churches. He actually started out designing workhouses, but moved on to cathedrals and larger churches. He designed this mausoleum, and one has to think that if he spent his time doing cathedrals, this was just a little job he completed probably in his lunchtime over a pack of sandwiches. Now, the Hoare family live locally in Luscombe Castle, and they have been bankers for some 11 generations. The Hoare Bank is still in business, still in London, for the very wealthy to use. I read somewhere that if you want to be a client of Hoare Bank, you have to be recommended by an existing customer, and you need to have at least £1 million. So this is the Hoare mausoleum, and one can see that multiple generations are here. I believe it's 11 generations have owned the bank, and it's been passed down from father to son, not on ability or talent, but on the basis of just being the son of a wealthy father. Something quite different. This is oval shaped, standing on a mound, but any inscription it might have had at one time has long gone. One is to Francis Berry, Gent, late of this place and formerly of Barnstaple. Barnstaple is in the north of the county of Devon. We're right down in the south. There are in this graveyard several of these huge yew trees. These will be hundreds of years old. A traditional tree for a graveyard. You can see one there just to the left of the tower. And they will be probably as old as the church. Beside the churchyard is the Garden of Remembrance and this large memorial to those men who died in the 1418 war. The names of those that fell in the First World War are listed on two sides of this memorial. Counting them up, there is over 100 men from this small area who gave their lives in 1914-18. On the other two sides are listed those that fell in the 39-45 war, and we're looking at around 50 to 60 names who gave their lives. Quite amazing. And here in the corner is a stone dedicated to those who lost their lives while serving their country in peacetime. 1946, 58, 89 and 90. At the bottom here is one to Bill Millin, D-Day piper, 1st Special Services Brigade, and I read that he was playing the pipes as they landed on the beaches on D-Day to fire up the troops, keep their morale up. So he actually landed on that first day. Well, that's my visit to St Gregory's Parish Church in Dawlish. A lovely little typical English graveyard. Some interesting stones, plenty to see and explore. Good place to come and visit. Till the next time.